All right, now that we've got the wheel off, the first thing we want to do is break the bead of the tire. Now the bead is, when the tire is inflated, it sticks to a little hook inside the rim. The rims are made to kind of hold onto the tire. And over time, with running through the elements, also the rubber, and having it fully inflated, they stick together. If you try to take the tire off while they're stuck together, you'll be working on one side, but this side will still be seated, and you won't be able to get the tire off. So I'm going to start by kind of squishing the tire back and forth, just making sure that it's not stuck to the side of the rim. So I'm going all the way around. And going right back to the nozzle. And in case you wonder about that, the nozzle right now I'm considering a starting point. So when I break the bead, I'm starting at the nozzle. And once I get back to it, I know that I've gone through the whole tire. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to inspect the surface of the tire, see if we can find a visible sign of what you ran over, if it was a staple or glass. And just do a visual check. And I don't see any sign of anything. And again, I came back to the nozzle. So this we'll have to check more when we have the tire off, and we can check the inside of the bead. Now to start removing the tire, this time I'm going to have the nozzle side pressed against my abdomen. I'm going to be starting opposite the nozzle. So let's turn the tire. And I'm starting right on the opposite side. Some beads, the bead, by the way, is a metal or Kevlar strip that's sewn into the tire. That bead helps the tire to keep its shape and also helps to lock it into that clincher, which is the metal wall of the rim. So some beads come off really easily. Different manufacturers make them different diameters. So some will be a little tighter than others. In a few cases, you can pull a tire right off and almost get it off the rim without using any levers at all. In other cases, they're so tight, you would need 2 levers and you really need to work at it. In this case, I'm going to show you using levers, because I think that's what we're all used to. I'm going to take a moment to show you 3 types of levers, and then we'll start taking the tire off. The first type of lever I'm going to show you is hook type. It's really thin, and one thing that all tire levers have in common is that they have the wide hook that goes under the tire, pulls the bead over the side of the rim. In some cases you use 2 or 3 to get a tire off, depending on how tight it is. And this hook is there for the reason of setting the lever in, locking it onto a spoke, so that you can go a few inches down and get another one started. And it kind of keeps the lever in place. Now the second lever I'm going to show you is one that's a little wider than what I was just showing you. Doesn't have the hook. A lever like this you could put in your jersey pocket. It'd be easy to keep with you if you're traveling. And sometimes it's more efficient because it's wider. It's able to pull more of the tire off the rim at one time. So you sometimes can only use one lever, and we'll be able to slide it right along the tire, get the tire off in one try. And I'm going to show you a third lever. It's one I don't think you'll ever use, but it's one that we use in the shop quite often. This lever is the king of all levers. We would use this on a downhill bike, 3-inch tires, some really tight tires, and in a few cases I've used them on moped tires, because I have a bike shop, and inevitably a neighbor will stop in with a moped and want me to change their tire. So these are always good to have around. Obviously, you wouldn't tour with them. You wouldn't pack them in New Jersey. But when you do use them, they have the long handle, which gives you an incredible amount of leverage. So stubborn beads that you can't get over the edge of the rim, suddenly they come off really easy. And now that I've shown you the 3 levers, I'm going to show you how to use them. Okay, where we left off, I want you remember that we went around the tire and we kind of flexed it back and forth to make sure that it wasn't stuck to the rim, the bead, as we called it. And now that we're sure of that, the nozzle is still at my abdomen, and this is where we're going to start with the tire levers. So if you come closer, I'll start with the tire levers and show you how to do that. I have the nozzle, this time on the bottom. I'm starting across from the nozzle. And I've decided that we're going to use the lever with the hook end because traditionally road tires are really tight, so we're probably going to need to use 2. So I want to be able to lock one into place while I get my other one started. So to start this out, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. The right way would be to just go in under one side of the tire and lock it. Now the wrong way would be to go in too far, and let me show you what that does. You see that I grabbed both sides of the tire, and at that point I'm actually struggling to pull the whole tire off. That's what I don't want to do. I want to just get one side. And this is what it looks like if I just get one side. So we're going to do it that way. It's the correct way. I'm going to flip this back around. Just like that. So we've got one tire lever started and hooked. Now we're going to follow up with our second lever. And the second lever, it's going to just be a couple inches, 4 inches, maybe 5 inches down from the first lever. So again, I'm going in. And again, just grabbing one side of the tire. And at this point, I'm just going to push the lever a little bit, just like a lever. And that, you'll notice, started to pull the tire off. And this one got really loose. That's all I needed to do to get this started. Once you're at that point, the lever will just stay under the edge of the tire, and you just slide it around. At this point, you want to be careful also to make sure that it doesn't snag on your tube. So I'm keeping it really flat against the wheel. If I had that lever out like this, trying to pull the tire off, I'd be grabbing the tube. So I'm going to hold the lever nice and flat against the wheel and just get that tire off. And that's the end of that step. The next step will be getting the tube out and making a mark so we can identify where the hole in the tube would be once we determine where the problem is with the tire. And we'll jump to that step.